The Silent Awakening. Commander Elena Santos stood at the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, watching Earth gleam like a blue jewel against the void of space. 10 years had passed since the Meridian Empire arrived in their crystalline ships, promising advancement and cooperation. 10 years since humanity learned they weren't alone in the universe. 10 years of carefully disguised slavery. The Meridians, with their towering, translucent bodies and advanced psychic abilities, had seemed like gods at first. They'd brought revolutionary technology, cures for diseases, and solutions to climate change. But their gifts came with a price: humanity's complete submission to Meridian rule. Elena's neural implant tingled at the base of her skull, a constant reminder of their overlord's control. The Meridians used these implants to monitor human thoughts and emotions, or so they claimed. But lately, something had changed. Elena could feel it, like a whisper in the dark corners of her mind. "Commander Santos," Dr. Marcus Chen's voice interrupted her thoughts. "The latest test results are ready." Elena turned to face the neuroscientist, noting the barely contained excitement in his eyes. Marcus had been studying the neural implants for years, officially to improve their efficiency for the Meridians. Unofficially, his research had uncovered something extraordinary. In his private lab, secured against Meridian surveillance, Marcus pulled up a holographic display of neural activity patterns. "Look at these readings," he whispered, pointing to a series of complex wavelengths. "The implants aren't just monitoring us. They're awakening something." Elena studied the patterns, her military training helping her spot the significance. "These patterns, they're similar to Meridian psychic signatures." "More than similar," Marcus replied. "They're evolving. The implants were meant to suppress our latent abilities, but they're having the opposite effect. Humans are naturally psychic. We just needed the right catalyst to unlock our potential." The revelation hit Elena like a physical force. The Meridians' greatest advantage had always been their psychic abilities, which let them manipulate technology and energy at will. If humans could develop the same capabilities, how many others know about this? She asked, already calculating possibilities and risks. "Just a handful of trusted researchers across the major bases. We've been careful. The Meridians are so convinced of their superiority that they rarely check our personal research projects thoroughly." Elena nodded, her mind racing with implications. "We need to organize carefully. Start identifying others who show strong neural adaptation. Build a network." Over the next months, Elena and Marcus worked tirelessly to expand their covert operation. They discovered that about 30% of humans showed significant psychic potential when exposed to the neural implants. More importantly, human abilities were developing in unique ways the Meridians had never anticipated. Where Meridian psychic powers were rigid and structured, human abilities proved remarkably adaptable. Some could interface with technology, others could communicate telepathically, and a few showed signs of even more exotic capabilities. The breakthrough came 6 months later, in an abandoned storage facility deep within Lunar Base Alpha. Elena stood in a circle with 5 other humans, all showing strong psychic potential. In the center of their circle sat a deactivated Meridian security drone. "Remember," Elena instructed, "don't force it. Let your mind reach out naturally, like ripples in a pond." They had discovered that human psychic abilities worked best in groups, amplifying each other in ways the individualistic Meridians never considered. As the 6 humans concentrated, Elena felt the familiar tingle of her neural implant transform into a warm current of energy. The drone lifted off the ground, surrounded by a soft blue glow. Unlike the harsh, mechanical control of the Meridians, their combined influence felt organic, almost artistic. The drone didn't just respond to commands. It danced. "It's beautiful," whispered Sarah Chen, one of the younger recruits. "I can feel everyone's energy flowing together." The drone executed a perfect series of maneuvers, demonstrating a level of control that should have been impossible for non-Meridians. More importantly, their activities hadn't triggered any of the implant's security measures. As they concluded the session, Elena felt a surge of hope stronger than anything she'd experienced since the invasion. "This is just the beginning," she told her team. "The Meridians thought they were creating perfect slaves, but instead, they've given us the tools for our liberation." The resistance grew steadily over the next few months, spreading from Luna to Mars colony and the orbital habitats. They developed new techniques for shielding their activities from Meridian detection and began identifying potential allies in key positions throughout the solar system. Elena stood once again at the observation deck, but this time she wasn't alone. Marcus joined her, along with Sarah and other core members of what they now called the Awakening. "The Meridians are expanding the implant program," Marcus reported. "They're calling it a neural optimization initiative, planning to increase coverage to 90% of the human population within 2 years. Elena smiled grimly. "They have no idea they're arming their own revolution." She turned to face her team. "These remarkable humans who had discovered their hidden strength. We'll let them proceed with their plans. Let them think we're still their obedient servants. But when the time comes, humanity won't just break free. We'll reshape the galaxy itself." As if in response to her words, Earth caught the light of the rising sun, its surface gleaming with promise. The Meridians had meant to ensure humanity's eternal submission. Instead, they had planted the seeds of their own downfall and humanity's ascension to the stars. The silent awakening had begun. And soon, very soon, the silence would break into a revolution that would echo across the galaxy. Mind over matter. The Mars colony's underground training facility hummed with psychic energy as Elena Santos watched her newest group of recruits practice. 3 months had passed since the breakthrough on Luna, and the resistance had grown beyond her wildest expectations. In the center of the chamber, Sarah Chen guided 5 colonists through a complex exercise. Their combined psychic energy manifested as shimmering patterns in the air, manipulating multiple pieces of Meridian technology simultaneously. What had once required direct physical interface now responded to their thoughts alone. "Keep the harmony," Sarah instructed, her voice steady despite the strain. "Remember, we're not forcing control like the Meridians. We're creating a dialogue with the technology." Elena smiled as she observed their progress. The human approach to psychic abilities had evolved far beyond simple mimicry of Meridian techniques, where the aliens imposed their will through rigid mental structures. Humans had developed a more collaborative approach, working in synchronization with both technology and each other. Marcus appeared at her side, his tablet displaying the latest data from their global network. "The Meridians just activated another wave of neural implants in the Asian sector," he reported. "Our people are already identifying potential recruits among the newly augmented." "Any signs that they suspect?" Elena asked, though she already knew the answer. The Meridians' greatest weakness had proven to be their absolute conviction in their own superiority. "None. Their monitoring systems only detect what they expect to find: submission and compliance." Marcus paused, his expression turning serious. "But we've discovered something else. Something big." He led Elena to a secure room adjacent to the training chamber. The walls were lined with complex scanning equipment, all modified to mask their true purpose from Meridian oversight. On a central display, a 3-dimensional image rotated slowly, a detailed scan of a Meridian's crystalline body structure. "We've been studying their biology," Marcus explained, "trying to understand why their psychic abilities developed so differently from ours. Look at this." He zoomed in on a particular section of the crystal matrix. Their entire species evolved around these naturally occurring psychic amplifiers. It's why they believe they're the only ones capable of true psychic mastery. Elena studied the image intently. "But we're achieving similar results through cooperation and neural networking." "Better results," Marcus corrected. "Their rigid crystal structure limits them to predetermined patterns. Our organic brains are infinitely more adaptable. The neural implants aren't just awakening our abilities. They're allowing us to evolve them in ways the Meridians never imagined possible." The implications were staggering. Every new implant the Meridians installed was potentially creating another resistance member, another human capable of surpassing their supposed masters. A sudden commotion from the training room interrupted their discussion. Elena rushed back to find Sarah and her group maintaining a perfect psychic link with a Meridian transport vessel, something that should have been impossible for non-Meridians to achieve. "We can feel everything," Sarah reported, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Every system, every protocol. We're not just controlling it. We understand it." Elena watched in amazement as the humans guided the transport through increasingly complex maneuvers. Their combined psychic signature was unlike anything they'd seen before. Not the harsh, crystalline patterns of Meridian control, but something organic, flowing, almost musical in its complexity. "This changes everything," Marcus whispered. "With this level of control, we cooled." "Not yet," Elena cut him off, though her heart raced with possibilities. "We need more time, more training. When we move, it has to be decisive." Later that night, in her private quarters, Elena reviewed reports from resistance cells across the solar system. The movement had spread to every human settlement, from the Mercury mining outposts to the research stations orbiting Saturn. Each report showed the same pattern: humans working together, developing their abilities in ways that defied Meridian understanding. A priority message flashed across her screen, text only, triple encrypted. It was from Admiral Chen, one of their highest-placed allies in the Earth Defense Fleet. "Meridian High Command arriving in 2 months. Full inspection of human integration progress." Elena's hands tightened on the edge of her desk. The inspection could either expose everything they'd built or provide the perfect opportunity they'd been waiting for. She began composing messages to resistance leaders throughout the system, her mind already formulating plans. The next morning, she gathered the core leadership team. Sarah, Marcus, and representatives from each major colony gathered in a secure chamber deep beneath the Martian surface. The room's psychic shielding, developed through months of careful experimentation, ensured absolute privacy. "The Meridians are coming to evaluate their success," Elena announced. "They expect to find a completely subjugated species, ready for the next phase of their integration program. Instead, they're going to discover exactly what humanity is capable of." She activated a holographic display showing key installations throughout the solar system. "We've been practicing, preparing, evolving. Now it's time to put everything we've learned to the test. When their high command arrives, we'll show them that humanity isn't just ready to join the galactic community. We're ready to lead it." The room erupted in discussion as Elena outlined her plan. It was ambitious, perhaps even reckless, but the opportunity was too perfect to ignore. The Meridians' own arrogance had given humanity the tools for their liberation, and their continuing blindness would be their downfall. As the meeting concluded, Sarah lingered behind. "The new recruits are advancing faster than we ever expected," she reported. "It's like each group learns from the collective experience of all the others. We're not just getting stronger, we're evolving." Elena nodded, remembering that first breakthrough in the lunar facility. "The Meridians think they're uplifting us to be better servants. Instead, they're about to discover they've been nurturing their own replacement." She turned to gaze through the reinforced windows at the Martian landscape, where Meridian architecture rose like crystal formations against the red soil. Soon, those structures would serve a new purpose in a new order, one where humanity's potential would finally be fully realized. The pieces were in place. The silent awakening was about to become a roar that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. Humanity wasn't just planning to break free from their chains. They were preparing to forge them into something entirely new. And the Meridians would never see it coming. The breaking storm. The Meridian High Command's flagship emerged from hyperspace in a flash of crystalline light, its massive form casting shadows across Earth's orbital defense platforms. Elena Santos watched from the command center of Orbital Station Delta, her expression carefully neutral as the alien vessel approached. Around her, both humans and Meridians worked at their stations, maintaining the illusion of normal operations. But beneath that facade, A current of psychic energy pulsed through the human crew members, their shared consciousness linked in ways their overlords never suspected possible. High Command Shuttle approaching Docking Bay 3, announced Lieutenant Rivera, one of their most talented psychics. Through their shared network, Alina felt the lieutenant's additional message. All resistance cells were in position throughout the solar system. The Meridian inspection team that emerged from the shuttle was impressive. 5 tall, crystalline beings whose forms shifted with rainbow patterns of light. Their leader, Supreme Overseer Vax Tool, moved with the fluid grace characteristic of their species. Commander Santos, the alien's translated voice rang with artificial precision. Your station's efficiency metrics are exemplary. We look forward to a thorough review of your operations. Alina bowed respectfully, playing her role perfectly. We are honored by your presence, Supreme Overseer. My staff has prepared detailed reports on our neural integration progress. As she led the inspection team through the station, Alina maintained a constant connection with the resistance network. Similar inspections were beginning at key installations across the solar system: Mars Colony, the lunar bases, the mining operations in the asteroid belt. Each location had been carefully prepared for this moment. In her private office, Alina presented the Meridians with exactly the data they expected to see. As you can observe, neural compliance rates have exceeded projected parameters, she explained, watching as the crystalline beings studied the falsified reports. Most satisfactory, Vax Toll commented. Your species' adaptation to our guidance continues to surpass expectations. We may need to accelerate the timeline for full integration. Through the psychic network, Alina sensed a surge of anticipation. Everything hinged on the next phase of the inspection, a demonstration of the station's emergency response protocols. It would require perfect timing and absolute coordination across the entire solar system. Perhaps, she suggested carefully, you would like to observe a standard emergency drill to verify our adherence to Meridian safety protocols. The Supreme Overseer's crystalline form sparkled with approval. An excellent suggestion, Commander. Proceed. Alina sent the signal through the network. Across the solar system, similar drills began at every major human installation. The Meridians watched with satisfaction as humans and their technology performed exactly as expected. At first, the change was subtle at first. In the station's reactor core, the human technicians' psychic signatures began to shift, their combined consciousness creating patterns that the Meridian's monitoring systems weren't designed to detect. Similar transformations were occurring throughout the solar system, a carefully choreographed symphony of defiance. Vax Toll's first indication that something was wrong came when the station's artificial gravity fluctuated. A minor system anomaly, Alina assured them, even as she felt the growing surge of psychic energy through the network. The Supreme Overseer moved to a nearby console, attempting to access the station's core systems. For the first time, confusion colored the alien's translated voice. The controls are not responding correctly. This is irregular. Is it? Alina's facade of submission fell away. Around them, the human crew members stopped pretending to struggle with the malfunctioning systems. Instead, their movements became sure, confident, as they exerted direct psychic control over the station's technology. The Meridian's crystalline forms flashed with alarm patterns as they finally realized the truth. This is impossible, Vax Toll declared. Your species lacks the necessary neural development for direct system interface. No, Alina corrected, allowing her own psychic energy to manifest visibly. Your species lacks the ability to recognize development that doesn't match your preconceptions. Through the network, she felt the coordinated uprising beginning across the solar system. On Mars, human workers seized control of the atmospheric processors. In the asteroid belt, mining crews turned extraction equipment into weapons. On Luna, research teams locked down laboratories and weapons facilities. You gave us the tools to unlock our potential, Alina continued, as security fields sprang up around the Meridian inspection team. But you never understood what that potential truly was. The station's internal communications came alive with reports of similar scenes playing out across human space. The Meridian High Command's flagship, still docked outside, found itself surrounded by defense platforms, now under complete human control. "This is rebellion," Vax Tull stated, their crystalline form rigid with shock. "You cannot hope to succeed against the full might of the Meridian Empire." Elena smiled grimly. "We're not just rebelling, Supreme Overseer. We're evolving. Your neural implants were supposed to ensure our submission. Instead, they became the catalyst for something you never imagined possible." Through the station's windows, she could see human ships moving into position, their crews working in perfect psychic harmony. The Meridian flagship's own systems were being subtly influenced by human technicians, its crystal-based technology responding to a form of control its creators had never anticipated. "Humanity doesn't want to destroy the Meridian Empire," Elena explained, as the alien leaders found themselves increasingly isolated from their own technology. "We want to transform it. Your species evolved natural psychic abilities through your crystalline biology. We've learned to achieve the same results through cooperation and adaptation." Reports continued to flow through the network, success after success as humans throughout the solar system demonstrated their newfound powers. The Meridians had expected to find willing slaves ready for the next phase of integration. Instead, they found a species that had transcended their limitations. "You have a choice," Elena told the captured High Command. "You can recognize humanity as equals, ready to contribute our unique perspectives and abilities to galactic civilization, or you can face the consequences of underestimating us." As if to emphasize her point, the station's systems responded to the combined will of its human crew, creating a display of psychic mastery that would have been impossible just months before. The Meridians watched in stunned silence as their carefully constructed hierarchy crumbled before their eyes. The breaking storm had arrived, and with it, the dawn of a new era in human history. The silence of submission had been replaced by the thunder of revolution, and its echoes would reshape the very foundations of galactic society. Rising tide. The crystalline spires of the Meridian Command Center on Mars cast prismatic shadows across the red desert as the second wave of liberation forces approached. 3 weeks had passed since the initial uprising, and humanity's revolution had spread like wildfire through the solar system. Elena Santos stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned AS Defiant, a captured Meridian warship now crewed entirely by humans. Through the psychic network, she felt the synchronized efforts of her crew as they guided the massive vessel through Mars' thin atmosphere. "Status report," she commanded, both verbally and through the network. Sarah Chen, now serving as the ship's psychic operations officer, responded immediately. "The Meridian garrison is attempting to strengthen their defensive shields, but they're fragmenting under our influence. Our ground teams are ready." The situation was similar across the solar system. While the Meridian Empire's vast fleets were still days away from arriving, their local forces were discovering that their technological advantage had become a vulnerability. Human psychics, working in concert, could interface with and control Meridian systems in ways their creators never imagined possible. "Launch the insertion teams," Elena ordered. Through their shared consciousness, she felt rather than saw the deployment pods launching from the Defiant's belly, each carrying a squad of specially trained psychic operators. Marcus's voice came through the network from his position at the Mars Research Complex. "Elena, we've decoded more of the Meridian technical database. You need to see this immediately." In her mind's eye, Elena saw the data Marcus had uncovered, detailed plans for the Meridian's next phase of human integration. The images made her blood run cold. They hadn't just been planning to control humanity. They had intended to fundamentally alter human consciousness, turning the entire species into living processors for their vast technological networks. "Share this with all command nodes," she ordered. "Everyone needs to understand exactly what we're fighting against." The revelation galvanized the resistance forces. Across Mars, human workers who had been hesitating now joined the uprising. The Meridian garrison found their crystalline technology turning against them as waves of human psychic energy overwhelmed their control systems. "Commander," Sarah interrupted, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the Meridian Center. They're attempting something we haven't seen before." Through the viewing screens, Alina watched as the crystalline spires began to pulse with intense light. The Meridian defenders were attempting to activate some kind of emergency protocol, drawing power directly from Mars' magnetic field. "They're trying to trigger a planetary defense system," Marcus reported urgently. "If they succeed, it could destabilize the entire planet's atmosphere." Elena reached out through the psychic network, connecting with every human operator in range. "Everyone, focus with me. We need to contain this." The combined psychic force of hundreds of human minds crashed against the Meridian defenses. It was like nothing they had attempted before, not just controlling technology, but redirecting and transforming energy on a massive scale. For a moment, the sky above Mars seemed to ripple as two forms of power clashed. The Meridian's rigid, crystalline energy patterns met the more fluid, adaptive force of human psychic power. Then, gradually, the light from the spires began to fade. "We did it," Sarah breathed. "The defense system is shutting down." But Alina wasn't finished. "Maintain the link," she commanded. "We're not just going to stop them. We're going to take control of the entire network." Through their combined consciousness, human operators began to reshape the Meridian technology, turning the planetary defense system to their own purposes. What had been designed as a weapon of last resort became something new, a shield that would protect Mars from the coming Meridian counterattack. As the last Meridian defenders surrendered, Alina received reports from across the solar system. Mercury's solar collection facilities had been secured. The asteroid belt mining operations were fully under human control. Even the research outposts orbiting Saturn had declared their liberation. In the secure command center beneath the Martian surface, Alina met with her senior staff to plan their next moves. The holographic display showed the positions of approaching Meridian fleet elements, hundreds of warships converging on the solar system. "Their numbers are significant," Admiral Chen observed, "but they still don't understand what they're facing. They think this is a conventional rebellion." Marcus nodded in agreement. "Every ship they send against us becomes another potential asset. Their technology is based on the same principles we've already learned to control. But we need to be careful," Sarah warned. "The Meridians won't make the same mistakes twice. They'll be adapting their systems, trying to prevent our interference." Elena studied the tactical display thoughtfully. "Then we'll have to adapt faster. Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to evolve, to find new solutions to impossible problems." The meeting was interrupted by a priority alert from the outer system monitoring stations. A massive hyperspace signature had been detected near Neptune, far larger than any of the approaching fleet elements. "It's the Meridian home fleet," Admiral Chen announced grimly. "They're committing everything to crush us." Instead of fear, Alina felt a surge of determination through the psychic network. Every human connected to the collective consciousness shared her resolve. They had come too far, achieved too much, to surrender now. "Begin the evacuation of non-essential personnel to the secure underground facilities," she ordered. "All combat-capable psychics are to report to their assigned stations, and send word to Earth. It's time to activate the Prometheus Protocol." The Prometheus Protocol was their most ambitious project yet, a complete reprogramming of Earth's planetary defense grid using principles they'd learned from studying Meridian technology. If it worked, it would give them control of the most sophisticated defense network in the inner solar system. As her orders were relayed throughout human space, Alina took a moment to observe Mars through the command center's windows. The red planet's surface was now dotted with the crystalline architecture of their former oppressors, but those structures now pulsed with the unique energy signature of human psychic control. "They thought they could domesticate us," she mused aloud. "Instead, they gave us the keys to our own evolution." The coming battle would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of galactic civilization itself. The Meridians had ruled through rigid control and forced compliance. Humanity would show them a different path, one of adaptation, cooperation, and unlimited potential. The rising tide of human liberation was about to meet the full might of the Meridian Empire. And in that clash, the galaxy would learn which force was truly stronger: the unchanging perfection of crystal or the endless adaptability of the human spirit. New Dawn Empire. The void between Earth and Mars blazed with crystalline fire as the Meridian Home Fleet engaged humanity's combined defense forces. Thousands of ships, both captured and converted, moved in perfect synchronization as human crews wielded their psychic abilities in ways the Meridians had never imagined possible. Elena Santos stood at the command center of Earth's orbital defense platform Alpha, her consciousness linked with thousands of other humans across the solar system. Through their shared network, she could feel every aspect of the battle, every victory, every loss, every moment of desperate courage. Meridian forces are pushing through the Jupiter defense line, Sarah reported, her voice calm despite the strain of maintaining their psychic coordination. They're adapting their systems to resist our influence. As expected, Elena responded. Initiate the Prometheus Protocol. Across Earth's surface, hidden installations hummed to life. The Meridians had spent years building a planetary defense network, never suspecting that humans would not only learn to control it, but fundamentally transform its very nature. Through the vast psychic network, Elena felt the power building. Unlike the rigid, crystalline energy patterns of Meridian technology, this was something new, a fusion of human consciousness and alien engineering that defied conventional understanding. The Meridian Supreme Commander's transmission cut through all frequencies. This rebellion ends now. Your species will submit to proper integration or face extinction. Elena's response was not in words, but in action. At her command, the Prometheus Protocol reached full power. Earth's atmosphere itself seemed to shimmer as layers of psychic energy merged with Meridian technology, creating something neither species had seen before. The effect was immediate and devastating. Meridian ships closest to Earth found their crystalline systems responding to human commands, their carefully structured energy patterns disrupted by the chaotic creativity of human consciousness. They're pulling back from Earth, Admiral Chen reported from his flagship near Mars. But their secondary fleet is still pressing toward the Martian colonies. Elena had anticipated this. Execute Phase 2. Show them exactly what humanity has become. Throughout the solar system, human psychics who had been waiting in reserve joined their consciousness to the network. The combined force of their abilities transformed the battlefield. Meridian weapons designed to target physical matter proved ineffective against ships controlled by pure thought. Human vessels seemed to move with impossible precision, their crews acting with perfect unity. In the space near Mars, a squadron of converted mining ships demonstrated the true potential of human innovation. Instead of trying to match Meridian military technology, they had adapted industrial equipment into weapons the aliens had never encountered. Asteroid processing beams, modified by human psychic energy, cut through crystalline hulls with devastating effectiveness. Supreme Commander, Elena broadcast on all frequencies, you're not fighting a rebellion anymore. You're witnessing evolution. Through the tactical displays, she watched as the battle lines shifted. The Meridian fleet's rigid formation began to fragment as more ships fell under human influence. Their crystalline technology, designed to respond to pure, structured thought patterns, proved vulnerable to the more fluid, adaptive nature of human psychic power. But the Meridians weren't finished. Their flagship, a massive crystalline structure that dwarfed all other vessels, began to pulse with blinding energy. They're attempting to activate their ultimate weapon, Marcus warned through the network. Some kind of psychic amplification device. The energy buildup reached critical levels, threatening to overwhelm human defenses through sheer power. This was the moment Elena had been waiting for. All units, execute final protocol, she commanded. Throughout the solar system, Human psychics joined their consciousness into a single unified force. Not just dozens or hundreds, but thousands of minds working in perfect harmony. The resulting psychic surge was unlike anything either species had ever experienced. It wasn't just power, it was transformation. Human consciousness, multiplied and amplified through their network, began to alter the very fabric of Meridian technology. The crystalline ships stopped responding to their master's commands. Instead, their structures began to shift and change, responding to the creative will of humanity. What had been weapons of destruction became tools of creation. The Meridian Supreme Commander's voice held a note of awe beneath its artificial translation. "What are you?" "We are what you helped us become," Elena responded. "You gave us the tools to unlock our potential, never imagining we would surpass your limitations. We don't want to destroy you. We want to show you a new way forward." Through their psychic link, she shared visions of what could be. A galaxy where both species contributed their unique strengths. Meridian stability and structure combined with human adaptability and innovation. Not domination, but cooperation. The battle paused as the vision spread through both fleets. Human crews maintained their defensive positions, but now they projected not hostility but possibility. The rigid patterns of Meridian thought met the flowing creativity of human consciousness, and in that meeting, something new was born. Hours later, in the grand chamber of what had once been the Meridian Command Center on Mars, Elena met with the Meridian Supreme Commander. The crystalline being's form shimmered with complex patterns as they discussed the terms not of surrender, but of transformation. "Your species has proven itself far more than we ever imagined possible," the Supreme Commander acknowledged. "The galaxy we knew has changed forever." Elena nodded, feeling the support of the human psychic network behind her. The Meridian Empire doesn't need to end. It needs to evolve. Together, we can build something greater than either of our species could achieve alone. The agreement they reached that day would be known throughout history as the Dawn Accord. It marked not just the end of Meridian domination, but the beginning of a new era in galactic civilization. Human innovation and adaptability would merge with Meridian technology and experience, creating a society that valued both structure and creativity. As Elena stood once again at the observation deck of Orbital Station Delta, Earth gleamed below like a jewel in space, but now the crystalline structures that dotted its surface no longer represented oppression. They were symbols of transformation. Humanity had not just gained its freedom, it had evolved beyond anyone's expectations. The new dawn had arrived, bringing with it the promise of unlimited potential. In their attempt to subjugate humanity, the Meridians had instead become catalysts for an evolution that would reshape the galaxy itself. The age of rigid hierarchy was over. The era of infinite possibility had begun.